Hello everyone, today we're going to talk about the meaning of poverty. So, when we talk about poverty, what comes to your mind? The first word that came to my mind was money. Due to the lack of sufficient money, people face the dilemma of poverty. However, upon further reflection, I realized that poverty should not be defined in such a narrow perspective, but rather inferred based on available resources. People don't have enough resources to live, or their living situation is very difficult. They don't have enough clothes to wear, food to eat, a house to live in, and so on. After this change in thinking, I became curious about the true definition of poverty. So, after doing some research, I found out poverty can be divided in two definitions: absolute poverty and relative poverty. First, absolute poverty is when people don't have enough resources to maintain their life. This definition is stationary and won't change in different countries or different social problems. On the other hand, relative poverty is different. Relative poverty has a standard called the poverty line. If the number is lower than its median, then we can define it as poverty. The definition of the poverty line varies in different countries and situations, and can be divided into three big standards: GDP, family income in society, and minimum living expenses. However, as I said, we can't define poverty based on the amount of money someone has. We need to take into account other factors that contribute to their living situation. For example, family income is not relative to the true financial problems because of retirement, self-employment, or unemployment. Those situations can be clarified as having no income, but they might not truly the poor. As for GDP, there are big differences between the third world and first world. We can easily understand this by looking at the chart, which is defined by absolute poverty. The black line represents the rate of poverty in world average. Above that line is the rate for the third world, and below is the rate for the first and second world. Although people in third world are above their poverty line's average, they might still be unable to maintain their lives, which is the reason why the third world's poverty rate remains high. To sum up, we can find out that relative poverty might be more suitable for the government to manage, but for the definition of poverty, we might use absolute poverty. This is because absolute poverty takes into account the minimum resources needed to maintain life, whereas relative poverty is based on a comparison to others in society.
And poverty can be divided three types of scale: a minority of people, a group in society, and country. First of all, a minority of people usually happens in a community that have a social security system. The problem they may face is they can live like people around them because their starting point is worse than others. When there are other extra charges, they can afford it. For example, they can participate in a school trip or some activities or even get an education. Secondly, a group in society. It usually happens in a community that has the great gap between rich and poor. The area usually coastline, and they've been forced to live in dangerous neighborhoods and has no good quality of life. Thirdly, country. All the residents need to face this situation, so they won't realize they are poor, but they can compare with others, so they don't have much mental health issues, but they lack resources such as clean water, adequate food, educational and medical resources, so they won't have good quality of life. As you can see, poverty is a serious issue in society because it makes people live in tough situations. To solve these problems, some charities, such as food banks, have already helped them a lot, and most of governments provide financial aid to poor people to help them have a better life.
To help the poor, we can not only donate supplies or volunteer for charity, but there is also a project called SDGs that makes the issue more globally recognized. SDGs are the Sustainable Development Goals proposed by the United Nations in 2015, and the goals are to improve 17 issues before 2030. The project includes climate change, gender equality, poverty, and so on. For the issue of poverty, The first project under SDGs is No Poverty. which comprises three main concepts. First, eliminate extreme poverty in various countries. Second, reduce the number of people living in poverty by half. And third, implement a social security system that ensures the poor have equal access to economic, educational, food, and medical resources. With the goals of SDGs, the issue of poverty has gained worldwide attention, and efforts are underway to address it. In conclusion, poverty remains a pressing global issue that requires urgent attention and action. While progress has been made in some areas, much more needs to be done to create a world where no one lives in poverty. Let us continue to strive toward a brighter future where everyone has the opportunity to thrive and reach their full potential. This is the end of the video. Thank you.